What is up, YouTube? It's OP Koa bringing you another red purple Luffy gameplay video. Um, yeah, so we've got the new starter deck stuff, and we decided to throw a portion of it into this Luffy deck and see how it does. So let's jump straight into gameplay, um, and let's throw some music on. Get rid of this big card. Here we go. All right, so we've got our first game against Black Yellow Luffy. Now, BY Luffy is obviously one of the meta decks, so it'd be great if our deck can stand against it, and it should, because we are a ramping deck. We're gonna have lots of big bodies, and we're gonna be able to starve him and punish him for that. He starts off with Garp into Luffy. I swing Zoro for 4, so he can't take a life off of it, still ramping me. And then we drop Zoro searching into our Sanjoro, which is going to be great off of our Luffy Taro. Okay, so then I pass. I'm not going to swing leader. We're starving him. Going to make him waste cards from hand to take his own life. Yep, so he plays Flampe, swings into our Zoro. Don't think we're going to defend here. He's got 5, so he could drop Big Luffy. He's got this Kuzan. He drops Sabo. Gonna let him filter through his deck. I'm thinking to myself, man, I really hope I find a Law. But, yep, let's see what happens. Make sure. Okay, so we top deck Nami. Nami's great here. Gonna let us search, dig. Here we go. Luffy into the Sanji. Obviously, huge tempo play. We want to develop our board before we start swinging into his. I'm thinking here because I could go 7 and 7, but he's most likely just going to take both of those attacks and be on his 8 Dawn turn. Wow, excuse me. So I just Nami, find a Sanji 2k counter, and my hand's looking pretty good. I've got the Onami to help me filter out some of these cards that I don't want, like the Mr. 2. Okay, so he just continues to take his life. He's going to go all the way down to 1. And this is kind of looking like a good spot to start pressuring, especially if he can't remove any of my stuff. Swing 6. I think I just counter out here. Yep, we use the Mr. 2. And then he Rocket Luffy's my Luffy Taro, which I think is a mistake. I would go after the Sanji. I know the Luffy's a bigger body, but Sanji draws me cards, which you just don't want that to happen. Yep, so, I mean, first priority here is removing this Kuzan. And then the second priority is trying to threaten his life. So we could potentially get a lot of cards out of his hand if we went like 3 Dawn to each of our characters and did 999. But we do decide to just handle this Kuzan, go into Onami, dumping our Jet Gatling. We don't have any bricks to dump with it, so... And then I do hit the Queen, which is pretty nice. And then we can Luffy ability. Actually, I guess we don't need to. If we needed to bluff the Radical Beam, I guess we felt like we didn't. So, yeah. He's at 1 life. He still needs to play 1 more card to take his last life. Hiyori is going to help him do that, of course. But yeah, we got, you know, 3 2k counters out of his hand. I'm feeling good. He's going to Luffy pop probably my Zoro. The Onami is a good option if he's worried about swings. But I'd suspect it's just going to be this Zoro. And yeah, we're not feeling amazing right now. We've built a board, but we can't find any of our big bodies, which I will say is one of the cons of bringing in this Zoro package from the starter deck with the Luffy Taro and the Sanjoros, is you cut down on your big drops, unfortunately. So, yep, he's not pressuring the Sanji very well, so I get to use my Onami there to save it. And oh, he Ice Ages Luffy leader ability, and he's gonna remove this Sanjuro, which is pretty problematic here because we do not have what we need. Yep. Okay, we're still at 3 life, and Newgate is a great way to start off this next turn. Big body, and we've got a blocker, so to be 9 into 9. It's like questionable whether or not you swing 9 into 9 because then he needs to commit more things. But I think at the end of the day it's the right swing because it potentially gets cards out of his hand or it gets a blocker out of the way. Because I mean, he's got a million cards. He most likely has a Gecko. He's going to be able to reset his life. Yep, there's the Gecko. And then he's going to leader ability anyways. So if you get rid of one of those cards from his hand, that's obviously plus. And then if he blocks with the Sabo, that's one less swing we have to deal with, or blocker. Especially because we're not on Diable Jambe, because I don't particularly like that card. Swings 9, I take it. Could have countered out, but I do need cards. Like, I don't have what I need in this matchup, so okay, I do hover over this Usohachi, and this should have been a big consideration later and always, is that Sabo can be rested down with the Usohachi, which might be relevant when going for game later. But yeah, we can go Queen, dump the Mr. 2, we don't need him. Could have dumped the Zoro, we don't need that either. We get into our Lin, which is going to be huge. Very relevant. Yep, so I think we just drop a blocker and pass. We're just looking for big plays. I could see myself 2k out of this. Yep. Because if we can keep the 6k bodies on the board and he doesn't go big enough, then with his little baby Luffys and Sabos, then these 6k bodies become threats, and if I ever top deck into Gear 5 Luffy, that's a huge play there. He does Kuzan, popping my Newgate with the Rocket Luffy and my Queen with the other one, and that's pretty unfortunate. But he doesn't actually buff up his life, so now I get a swing. And like, okay, and this is where the Usohachi comes into play again. It's like, look, I just rest down the Sabo. He's got 6 cards in hand. It needs to all be counter because I can go 9. 2, 3, 6. Yeah, that'll eat every single card from his hand. So yeah, I messed up here, but that's okay. I guess it wouldn't have been 9. It would have been like 9 probably. Yeah, because I would have been 3 down short. Okay, but it turns out he had no counter anyways, so I end up winning. But it was definitely a big mistake for him not to just Moria again and go ahead and buff up his leader, because you just can't kill the Luffy sometimes without, you know, when he's at a 9k leader. So let's jump into this next one. Oh wait. Okay, so this is into Smoker. And, you know, Black Deck's being huge right now, and this Smoker is super relevant. He starts off pretty good with a little Soldier. That's going to help him remove things later. I don't have a Ramper, so I'm off to a slower curve than usual, which is not great for me. He goes the new 1-drop that lets him dump 2 Navy cards to draw 3 cards. So he just filters a bunch, takes one of my life, and then I'm going to double search here with Nami Zoro. Hopefully I find, yep, combo would be great. I don't find a Sanji, which is pretty unfortunate. That's okay, we're going to go Luffy Taro into Zoro, which is still pretty good. Then he Tashigi's, removes my Zoro, which is unfortunate. We top deck the Sanji, so that's pretty huge. And then, yeah, we Zoro into this Sanji, which is obviously ideal, because next turn we're going to 8 down. We'll ramp to 9 using leader ability. We'll have Newgate and 2 swings, so we'll be able to handle board, and we've stayed relatively healthy because we counter out fairly aggressively. So, unfortunately, we did have to leave this 1-drop Nami on the board for him, so... Oh, and he removes the Sanjoro. It's pretty unfortunate, and he's going to go 7. We got to counter out of that, and then 8, which we kind of have to take because our hand is a little bricked. But yep, so now we're just going to try and play board control. He blocks. I'm going to go Newgate, and then swing 8, probably into Tashigi. Oh, we go for the Brook. Wait a minute. I think developing Newgate is a lot safer here. Zoro Sanji seems a little greedy, especially because we would have been able to remove... Yeah, he's going to just have a lot harder time removing Newgate than he is this Sanji, or the Luffy. Okay, so... I mean, he probably has... he's got 7 Dawn up, so it's probably... the 7-drop Animal Kingdom guy. Gosh, what's his name? Jack. Probably a Jack. Okay, he doesn't Jack, he just goes at face. Yeah, which we're not going to let that happen. And we're going to go ahead and remove his board and probably drop Newgate, so... Yep, Newgate into swing 9, pass. So now we have board. We only have 1 life, but pretty sure we just win here because we can swing board and then we can gear 5 Luffy for a game. Oh, he's gonna pop 2 of our guys, which is pretty good for him. Remove our Nami, which is almost pointless. Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't go for Gear 5 Luffy. I'm pretty sure if I go Luffy, I win. So, definitely a little bit of a mistake there, but double blocker is just as safe. And I guess we can Luffy next turn. Okay, yep, Tashigi remove a blocker. He's got 2 big swings. It doesn't matter, I have a blocker. And I've got counter, so counter, counter. And then he can swing Sabo. We're not going to let that happen either. He plays Borsalino. Yep, and then we just swing out. And he has no counter in his hand, so... Yeah, that's Smoker. Let's get this game. This game is a very good one against Doflamingo. Let's watch this one. Okay, so we're on the even curve, and he drops the buggy. So his top of his deck is set. We pick up a Zoro off the Nami search. We don't have a ramper, which is pretty unfortunate. As always, no ramp is a problem. We're playing against Dofi, so we're going to try and keep our hand size around 5 cards. We don't want to lose to pudding. He drops Weevil, so we're just going to swing 6 into the Weevil. Obviously, he should counter out. Yep, gives us a Perona, and then we're going to drop the Zoro. And you could dig for... I like taking Luffy or the counter. Luffy is a very big tempo play in the end of the game. Luffy's a little bit different in this deck, though, where you develop on curve a lot with this deck. So you have a board, and when you Gear 5 Luffy, you lose your entire board. So, yeah, Gear 5 Luffy plays a little bit differently in this style of red, purple Luffy, but yeah, so here we just need to control board. So 8-8, 8-6 even makes sense to me, and then develop a 4-cost body. Oh, or... Okay, yeah, or we go this route, develop a blocker, and eat a card from his hand. I almost think that, like, killing his Weevil is the equivalent of developing a blocker. So I do think it might have been worth it to actually just commit all the Dawn there to kill the Weevil. Yeah, because now he gets to swing 7 with it. And it's like, I played this Law. I could have just removed Weevil. So a little bit of a mistake there, in my opinion. Luckily, we're still a 6k leader, so it's hard to deal with. He uses Teach, giving it 3 Dawn, which means this is the last of his swings. We're going to give him the Sanji and go ahead to our 9 Dawn using our leader ramp. Yep, so this is a pretty clear Newgate turn. I like swinging 6 in the Jinbei, force out a 2k counter, and then 8 into Weevil. And now he's got to give me the rest of his hand, which he does. And I'm feeling good because I'm an 8k leader. So he's going to struggle to swing into this with his board. And I developed the Newgate, which is going to be able to deal with multiple cards on his board. I've got the Lin for follow-up. So even if I take a little bit of damage here, not too much of a problem. He goes a 9, which commits 3 Dawn. And I don't have a 2k right now, so we're in a little bit of a sticky situation right now. He goes 8. We're going to 1k out of this, no problem. I want to keep an Onami and I want to keep a Queen. Because if I Onami Queen, that's a 9 Dawn play, and then I'll get one of the Dawn back from the Luffy ability. And then I can use the 2 on Newgate and deal with most of his board with that play. So I actually Lin here. And I'm going to get rid of this Jinbei, I think. Because if I get rid of the Jinbei, there's no chance of him recurring that. And then the Weevil is a little bit scary to give him because it's a 6k body and it recurs itself. And I choose to swing 6. Oh, because I want to remove Teach. Yeah. Which is probably a little bit of a misplay given at this point in the game. Teach is much less threatening than a Weevil, and I could have removed both Weevils here. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. So he... Wow, okay. So he loads up his Dawn, puts me to 0 life. I get to drop double blocker, but I am in no way in a good position here because Perfume Femur. So I really gotta dig for a Lin. And then also dig for as much counter as I can find. And I should have swung into this Weevil first, just give my opponent less information. Yep, but we're gonna go 6 and then 12 and then pop the Perona, give him 1 less swing. I am playing a little bit into a Gravity Blade too. He can Gravity Blade the Queen and the Onami. There's just a lot of things to consider in the Doflamingo matchup. Actually, it's not a lot of things, but it's like 3 or 4 things, but they're all very relevant. So, yeah. So he plays Boa Hancock, and I'm feeling good. That's definitely not something that's going to, you know, that's not a Perfume Femur. So we're happy to see it. He ends up swinging 11 into my Lin. I'm like, okay, I'll block that all day. And then, yeah, we're just going to remove board. I have Usohachi to tap down this Boa Hancock as well. Usohachi, Queen, Nami. I Queen first, dumping Gear 5 Luffy. I don't think it's a Gear 5 Luffy game at the moment. We're under a lot of pressure to end this while maintaining blockers. Okay, but we do put him all the way to 1 potentially. And then we go... Oh, we get to law him, dumping 2 of his cards. I check to see if there's a Perfume Femur. There's not. And I'm counting the counter in my hand because if he Perfume Femurs me, is this game? Yes, because I've only got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7k counter in hand. So I can block up to 13k of a swing. Actually 12k. Which, yeah, wouldn't have done it, but... So he clearly doesn't have it again. And I get a counter out of this. And with board, I can swing for game. So we go 5, 6, 6, 9, 10, 16. Oh, wait. He's got 2 blockers, so I did miscalculate a little bit. I am fortunate that the counter ran out this way. But, yeah, so I can just swing for 6. And then play the Franosuke, which has rush, so. Sweet, and that's Doflamingo. Looks like you can take some games against Doflamingo. Let's watch. This is Purple Luffy, which arguably uses the package that we're using better. Especially because the curve can be clunky when you don't hit your ramp. But luckily in this game we hit the Zorojuro. So we're gonna ramp efficiently. He gave us first as well, which is pretty relevant. He swings 7. We're gonna 2k counter out of this. We both are playing around each other's purple law. Yep. So then we can go 5, ramp a Dawn. Then we can go Mr. 2, ramp another Dawn, and then it looks like he's not going to have any good targets with his Mr. 2 until I drop a big body, so he can either sit on the Mr. 2 or he might use it to try and help him control this board. I would personally sit on it and then just put like a Dawn on Luffy and swing 6 that way. Yeah, so he swings with the Bonclay first, which I think is a mistake. For some reason, I think he's under the impression that he wants to put pressure on me. It's just like with his current curve, he can't really do that. So now I get to put pressure on him. Take him probably down to 2 life now, and I've got a Gear 5 Luffy loaded up. And all he has is a Magellan, and he needs to control my board. Which, okay, and that is one of my complaints with playing a 9-drop Newgate, is sometimes they just control your board rather than swinging face. So then it's like the 2k buff only really helped you with the attack, and it didn't really help you like deal with... Yeah, anyways, so we start with a 10k swing, he takes, which puts him to 7 cards, so we're gonna law him. We get a Kaido out of his hand, which is huge. Kaido is a blowout against this deck. And then we're gonna dump our bricks after playing Queen and go ahead and control this board, which he counters out. So I think he's trying to make a play to go for game, but instead plays Lin Lin and then puts Queen to the bottom. Again, with Lin Lin, bottom or top of card, you gotta think about what you're afraid of. And is a random card scarier than a Queen? In this case, yes. So I think it was good to put Queen to the bottom. But let's say like a Zorojuro. I think you put Zorojuro to the top because it's not a counter, and it's only a 4. If it's a 4-drop play, so it's gonna ruin the rest of his turn if he plays that. But either way, we're going to test the waters here with this law swing. If he gives me the Queen, then that's a green light to drop Gear 5 Luffy. If he gives me counter, still a green light to drop Gear 5 Luffy. pretty much we're committed to go for game. Yep, and then we go 7, take our extra turn, do 12-10. Well, 10-12 would be better. And I actually only need to do 7, so if I had a Sanji in hand, then I would have been able to play that as a blocker still, and probably lived another turn. Yeah, there's purple Luffy. And then our last matchup is into, this is kind of off meta, a little bit of a Zoro Sanji deck. Has been popping up. I've seen some hype around it, you know, through some other YouTube videos. The deck is neat. The ability to restand your characters is very powerful with your leader ability and can lead to a lot of pressure. But seeing as Red Purple Luffy is a 6k leader, it's very hard to deal with. But Sanji is really sick with the Zoro ability because you're going to be able to trigger his on attack twice, making him a 6k, 7k swing. Yeah, but we go Zoro, then we swing our 3-drop Zoro, ramp with the Mr. 2, and then swing 7. So we've got him down to 3 life. We've got plenty of counter in our hand. And then he's got Ivankov, which is going to net him cards. Duval's a blocker. Swing 6, that's okay. Make sure you read your opponent's cards, guys, because I make a mistake here. So 6. I give him the law here because if you read Ivankov, he's always trying to keep a low hand size. Read Sanji as well. It only works if he has 5 cards or less. So law isn't going to be relevant. And then, as you can tell, I still took a life, but I accidentally gave him a 2k counter, making me neg a card. Pure mistake here. Read the cards. Sanji is plus 4k, so he's a 7k character. Pretty unfortunate. And then we Newgate. Yeah, but we are a little tilted here. We consider just conceding because of that mistake. It's very relevant. If it comes down to a 2k counter, just know that that was the mistake. Yep, so he loads up 2 Dawn, puts himself to 7, which isn't enough. But he's going to go ahead and restand with the Zoro. So we're going to 1k. And then we read the card properly this time, and we see that he's swinging 9, so we give him a 2k. He deals with the Bond Clay, with the Ivankov. Yep, and then we're going to go 10 into 7. If he wants to give us a bunch of cards for that, I'm okay with that. We got to deal with Ivankov. It's free card advantage. And well, he's at 3 life. I've got a solid board. I'm at 1 life. Yep, I'm circling that Usohachi. I'm still pretty salty about that. I think about countering out, and I do. I top decked the Zoro anyways. So, yep. Or the Luffy Taro. Which, honestly, I probably should have just went Zoro cheat out Luffy. I think that would have been better. Like 9 times out of 10 there. But that's okay. A little bit of a mistake. Oh, it lets me swing with Nami not doing that. So maybe it wasn't too bad. He has to give me a bunch of counter. At most he's got 3 swings. Oh man, am I dead? Well, if he plays this right, I'm very dead. So I go ahead and counter out. Wow. Yep. Looks like off meta gets you there. Gets you sometimes. It didn't come down to a 2k, so can't be too mad. Yeah, the Zoro Sanji deck is pretty cool. So yeah, if you get a chance, definitely check that one out. Let's jump straight into the deck. I always forget to mention that I put the deck profiles at the end. So if you made it here, congrats. I'm not sure a lot of people make it to the end of the videos, but yeah, let's just go over the deck really quick. We're on red purple Luffy, 4 Nami, 2 Newgate. I know this is sad, but like, you play so much of this mid-range package, you gotta cut down on these big drops. So 2 Newgate, 4 Bond Clay, Mr. 2, 4 Zoro 3 drop that ramps you, 2 Franosuke, 2k counter, 2 Monkey D Luffy, game ender, 4 Sanji, 2 Linlin, 3 Queen, 2 Law, 4 Usohachi, 2 Onami, 4 Sanjoro, 2 Zorojuro, because your 4 drop or like turn 2 play is super clogged right now. Like, you've got this because you need the extra ramp. Like, you always want to see a ramp card, so this puts you up to 10 ramp cards that you can play by turn 2. Well, I guess it'd be turn 3 sometimes if you're on the odd or even curve. I always want to see Zorojuro though, so I always take first, and I always mulligan for Nami or Zoro. Anyways, so only 2 of these because it's a conflicting spot, and I didn't want to play too many bricks. Only 3 Luffy Taro because it's mid-range, and Luffy Taro is only good if you have these other cards, and because we have to cut down on those, this card is less good. For Jet Gatling, you play a lot of cards that do not counter, so this helps bail you out, and then the 2 Lead Performer Disaster to round out your ramp options. So there you go. That is Red Purple Luffy with the starter deck cards. If you like the deck or have any improvements that you would make, let me know in the comments down below. Till next time, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. Peace.